Hey everyone, it's AYBL Main here. This is my series, AYBL Main's Top 5 series for albums, songs, movies, and the like. I'll be counting down those things, or at least ranking those things as I go along. Please take time to hit the red subscribe button down below. Please leave comments, maybe your top 5 in each particular category. That would be kind of cool. And whether you like or dislike the video. Other than that, guys, let's just sit back and enjoy and plug away at this series. I appreciate it. Hey everyone, AYBL Main, and here I am again. I'm going to do another one of my top 5 album series, and today is going to be the top 5 debut albums of all time. This one was kind of tricky. So I kind of went with a little bit of ones that I thought were perhaps greater influences for a particular genre, or maybe just, and then in some cases overall. Making it at number 5 for me, I think I'm going to have The Clash from 1977, their debut album, self-titled. Probably the most identifiable, punk band of all time, I would have to say. I also think that they're highly influential to reggae in some ways. I think that their style and their sound is a little bit of got a reggae feel to it, so I think it's really cool. I like Janie Jones and London's Burning. White Riot's really good. I know this was ranked like 102 on the Rolling Stones top 500 albums of all time, which I think is great. It probably is considered the second best punk album of all time. That's at least what's listed here by, I think, NME, the magazine. I'd like to know what the #1 album was, but maybe it's London Calling, probably by, by The Clash as well. So I'm just guessing. Also making it, I got at number 4, I've got REM's Murmur. Now, everybody knows I'm a huge REM fan, so this is probably not a big surprise to people. But I think, I'm putting it here mostly because you're talking about a very introspective, jangle pop type of band. I mean, rock music in and of itself, very, outro, flamboyant type of rock that was kind of going on in the 70s. And then along comes a band like REM, and now all of a sudden they're talking about things that are very introspective. So it's a little bit different, and the sound was completely different. Jangle pop's a completely different sound. Check out Radio Free Europe. You might want to bring a lyric sheet when you do. Perfect Circle's my favorite track off of there. Talk About the Passion, Laughing, all great songs. Highly recommend it in every possible way. Those are some of my favorite musicians of all time. Mike Mills on bass, Peter Buck, Bill Berry, and of course Michael Stipe. Love him or hate him. Highly influential lyricist and one of the better friends of Kurt Cobain, so it's very interesting. This actually won for Best Album by Rolling Stones magazine for 1983. That's beating out Michael Jackson's Thriller, so that's kind of a big deal, guys. Also making it, I got at number 3, I've got the Cars self-titled album from 1978. I consider this, if you look at the track listing, it's essentially a greatest hits of the Cars. I think so anyway. New wave, synth pop, power pop sound. Good Times Roll obviously is a great song. My Best Friend's Girl, Just What I Needed. Moving in Stereo, which of course is a song from the infamous scene in Fast Times at Ridgemont High when Phoebe Cates is coming on a diving board there, and well, you know what's going on in the we'll know what's going on in the house anyway. Number 353 on the top 500 Rolling Stones album of all time. It's just a fun record to listen to, guys. Very fun record and enjoyable all the way through. Number 2 for me is going to be Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced from 1967. Highly influential for psychedelic rock, acid rock, and then, just rock and roll in general, actually. 4 of the songs from this album appear on Rolling Stone's Greatest Songs of All Time, so that tells you how great this album is. I like Hey Joe, Wind Cries Mary is very good, Foxy Lady, Purple Haze. Those are like the great stuff here, guys. I mean, also there's going to be some influence from his album that's going to carry over into stuff like precursors for blues rock, lo-fi sound, everything. So this album just kind of did it all. And I hadn't even listened to this album until like a year and a half ago in full. So I was pleasantly surprised. Number 30 on Rolling Stone's top 500 albums of all time, and deservingly so. It's just a great album. But number 1, and it's awful hard to argue this at all. If you're talking about people who've influenced rock and roll, you got to start with the Beatles, right? So it's going to be the Beatles from 1963. Please Please Me. You're talking about the the pinnacle of Mercy Beat. It's the pinnacle of rock and roll music itself. This album just creates ripples in music in general that just carries over to this very day. Love Me Do, which is one of my top 10 favorite Beatles songs of all time, is on here. It was on a double A side with P.S. I Love You, Ask Me Why, I Saw Her Standing There. These are all songs that were on this debut album. It is an important album. It's a great album to listen to. I have it actually on a mono version of it. Paid some big bucks for it, but well worth it. Just number 39 on the list of the top Rolling Stones albums of all time. I would have had it probably a little bit higher, but Rolling Stones does whatever it wants to do. So that's my top 5 debut albums of all time. I'm sure you guys must have a ton of different ones, and that's great. List them down below. Subscribe to my channel if you would. That would be great. Leave some comments if you'd like. That's perfectly fine with me, and I'll catch you guys on the other side.